for joining me. Today we're just going to focus on a few different standing balance poses, going from standing balance that's still on two legs towards a standing balance pose where there's a little more support, the knees stay lower than your hips, and then standing balance that requires a little bit more support is a little more challenging, where one of the knees comes higher than your hips. So from standing, right, so the first option I mentioned is where both feet are on the ground and you're practicing with finding that balance with the feet on the ground. So one option could be just standing and starting to lift the heels up, maybe reaching the arms up as well. And then you spend maybe 5, maybe 10 breaths here. And then I'll show you another option from the side. You can have hands reaching forward, shoulder blades draw onto the back, and then heels lift up. As you start to bend your knees, you keep lifting heels up, lower abdomen in and up. And you're trying to keep the pressure right on the mounds of the big toes, and you expand the balls of the feet, expand the soles of the feet. Keep shoulders relaxed. And then inhale and exhale. And so that first option, again, is with both feet down, where the heels lift up. And the second option is coming into these poses where you're balancing on one leg, but your knees are still lower than your hips. So an option for this would be tree pose, Vrikshasana. And so you can start with that right ankle on your left, or right heel on your left ankle. You could move the right foot to your left lower leg, or you could move that right foot up to your inner thigh. Right? You have different levels within this mild level, within this medium level. Okay? My knees are lower than my hips, but you also have that option of where you place the right foot that can add or subtract challenge. Then once you're in Vrikshasana, I'll switch sides. Once you're in this pose, I want to see what your pelvis is doing. And sometimes there's a tendency to want to over-open that lifted knee, which is turning the pelvis off whack. So the spine is actually a little twisted here, a little compressed on the one side. So you want to start by finding that neutral pelvis, right? So this right front hip is opening even as the left knee opens. So it's not all left knee where that right hip turns. And you want to keep that pelvis level. And then the same goes for if the foot is too high up the leg, sometimes that left hip is going to want to lift up. So sometimes this hip has a tendency, if the foot is too high, to jack that lifted hip up. So you want to be able to have the foot low enough down the leg that the hips can stay level, pelvis stays level. So then the spine has the opportunity to lengthen, to grow equally through both sides. And then maybe you lift the arms up. Lots of arm variations here. Again, that second level, medium level standing balance is where that knee is lower than the hips. Okay, another option here is Garandasana Eagle, where you could bend into the knees, and then you bring right leg over left, and flex that lifted foot, maybe wrap those lifted toes around your left leg, and then the arms can do the same. Right arm can come under your left arm, and you stay for 5 breaths, you breathe. And then release. And you switch sides. So if you're looking at this from the side angle, as I come into Garandasana, first I set up the legs, and then I set up the arms. And I'm trying to avoid leaning forward, compressing the spine. I'm going to try to keep shoulders stacked over the hips as I come in. And finding that drishti is crucial. If you're standing up at a blank wall, it tends to be much more challenging. And you inhale to release, exhale to come out. So then the more challenging variation or most challenging option for standing balance is where that lifted knee comes higher than the hips. So one option that I like is you can come from a standing pigeon, right? So here you're in that medium level, ankle over knee, knees lower than hips. And to make this more challenging, you can start to lift that shin higher than your hips. And so try to lift up through the spine, up through your chest. So it's almost like pigeon standing. And you can release, maybe stretch your leg out first and come out. And then moving into the second side, that left ankle crosses over. And then making it more challenging, you can start to lift that shin higher than your hips. You're going to make sure both feet are active, so you can find the mounds of your big toes, mounds of your pinky toes, and the centers of the heels. And to add stability, draw those 3 points towards one another. And to relax into the pose. Keep the arches lifted as you expand those points away from one another. And let that come out. And so another option here could be coming into Padangusthasana, where you grab for the big toes, or Utthita Padangusthasana, extended big toe pose. So coming for your right big toe, you can start maybe here, just staying with the knee bent. Or you can start pressing the sole of the big foot, sole of the right foot forward. Lift your chest up. So this is building off of Supta Padangusthasana, that first video I did. And then you also have those 3 options, right? What we did on the back, you can open it up to the side. And you can also grab the foot with your left hand and start to move this into a twist. So if you're looking at it on the other side, and you have this variation where the left leg will extend forward. You want to avoid rounding the spine, stay lifted. And then you could start to open that foot out to the side. And then maybe you find a twist here where your right hand grabs your left foot. Stay lifted as you rotate. And then maybe you fall out, right? So I know for me, standing balance is one of those things that I really struggle with, that is always creates a lot of resistance in my practice. But it's just a practice. Try to build off of it in tiny steps. Try not to do too much at once. So if you find yourself falling all over the place, try to come back to that more basic place. Try to keep that steadiness, that focus, and stick with your breath. And let me know if you have any questions. Be well.